Hey guys, I just wanted to quickly answer a few questions that several of you have been inboxing me about, or a couple people asked my grandma about, and I'm not quite sure she understands everything. So I just want to talk a little bit about Brazil, and I'm going to be going back here very, very shortly, any day now. I'm not telling anyone the exact day, but I'm really excited. I was working in Brazil before. I originally went down to work with an organization. It became political. Long story. I ended up teaching English in a different city, and I started working with humanitarians, and we formed just a project. It became an anonymous project, hence why I call my project the Anonymous Heart. We would secretly deliver humanitarian aid to people, like they call it social assistance, things like water, food, soap, shampoo, hygiene products, and sometimes flowers, plants, stuff like that. Just little pick-me-ups. But we would secretly find ways to give to people that weren't just traditional showing up at their doorstep too, knocking, saying, hey, I heard you need this. We also found very creative ways to give, to where it didn't seem like a gift necessarily. Anyway, so that became our project, and it kept expanding, and people wanted to be a part of it, both Brazilians and Americans. And with time, an actual organization started to form. So I came back to the U.S. In August to take care of my grandma. Most of you know she's 91. My mom just passed away last year, so my grandma's kind of been by herself, and I came back to just help her a little bit. And while I've been here, I started teaching in the public schools, substitute teaching in the public schools, and I found a bunch of humanitarians that have been my friends for years, but it just kind of made sense that we're friends for very similar hearted reasons, to go ahead and start bringing people in on this project that I've got in Brazil, getting my American friends more involved. And I've had quite a few people come to me wanting to participate, and finally things just came together, and we're forming an NGO, and everything's in the process of the paperwork right now. But I'm really excited about that. We have a team of about 10 to 15 people, and everyone has different strengths and qualities, which is really great. I chose to bring people closer into the project that are way more intelligent than me. They really know their stuff. I mean, some of the research that they've done on viable projects for Brazil is just amazing, and the conversations we've had about life too, just life in general, and the heart to go learn another culture. And it's not about saving another world. Brazil does not need saved at all. Actually, their simple way of life is pretty awesome. It could potentially save us from our mess of a generation we have now. But bring us back down to earth a little bit. But there are ways that we can help some of the poverty there, and there are some things that we've had the opportunity to learn here in the US, education-wise, that we can take back there and share with them. I'm not talking about technology. I'm just talking about like clean water filtration. How can we make sure that people on farms that are very isolated, learn first aid and health? And we live on a beach. Not many people know CPR, and people drown, and just little things like that that are a little more common here, or a little more at our grasp. We're taking back there. We're trying to work on recycling campaigns and things like that. Just ways to improve the community. Honestly, if I lived back here in the US, I'd start the exact same thing. So I just really like working with Brazil. Anyway, so our project is the Anonymous Heart Organization. It went from project to organization now. You can find us online, www.theanonymousheartproject.com. We call it the 5 pillars of our project, but we have 5 different projects in our organization, and they spell out heart. We have health, environment, aid, research, and tourism. And we're just, I don't know, overall just trying to improve the community that we live in. But this is what's so important about what we're doing that's different than what I've seen. When I was working in Brazil before, I was with an organization that I found, the organization that I left, I found they really can extort people. The government does the same thing at times. You'll see them help people, but it's in exchange for something. Or they prey on the weak and offer them hope or offer them a future to keep them coming back to them, like a status quo, or they're gaining control over people's lives. And we want to go there to kind of free people of all the things that are holding them back, to kind of give them their own independence. And like, I want to go in and be able to help somebody, or teach them something in a way that I'm setting them free, to where they won't need me anymore once they've learned, something new. They can be self-sustainable. That's what we're teaching, self-sustainability. For example, okay, I mean, you've heard this saying a million times, but you give someone a fish or bread or something, they only eat for a day. That doesn't, I mean, yes, that's relief, that's aid, and that's one of our projects, aid. But that doesn't solve the problem, and we want to get down to the foundation of building something with foundation, to where we're going to teach them to fish so that they can feed themselves their whole lives. We don't want people to be dependent upon us, and this is what I've seen so much in Brazil. And I'll say this in English, but I'm going to say it in Portuguese because I didn't put it in my Portuguese video. But when you, in Brazil, a lot of organizations in the government keep people so dependent upon them. And when you're dependent upon someone else, they have control over you. And we're just really wanting to be something different, a different kind of voice in the community where we see these issues. And now I'm going to say it in Portuguese, but brasileiros, meus amigos em Brasil, a organização com que eu estou trabalhando é alguma coisa que nós estamos tentando fazer diferente, é que nós queremos ensinar e deixa vocês para vivendo independente. Se você dar um peixe para uma pessoa, ele vai comer para um dia só. Mas se você vai ensinar ele como pescar, ele vai comer toda a vida, independente. E muitas organizações e governo quer machucar vocês, ajudar, mas você precisa ficar voltando para ele, independente do que ele está fazendo. Eles tentam pegar pessoas mais fracas para coisas assim. Eu não gosto disso. Eu não acredito que é um jeito muito boa. Parece que ele está ajudando, mas não. Então, o controle que eles têm com vocês não é bom para a sua vida. Vocês precisam de organizações, líderes que vai ajudar e deixa você para vivendo sua vida livre, independente. E minha equipe aqui estão tentando ensinar coisas muito boas sobre a vida, que dia você não precisa de nós mais. Então eu vou falar em inglês de novo. Okay, sorry about that. I was explaining the whole thing in Portuguese too, because it's a very important concept. It really is. But anyway, during the winter here in the U.S., we gathered, we had an event to where you could sponsor a child. We also sponsored their families for Christmas dinners. But the toys and clothes and diapers and everything that we gathered will be delivered to these families in May. We're really excited about that because we're going to hand deliver everything. Myself and Rebecca, who is now going to be our new board of directors, or she's going to be our chairman of the board of directors. She's going down with me. It's going to be her first trip to Brazil. And we're going to be hand delivering things, and while she's there, she's going to meet the Brazilian team. It's going to be exciting. I told her most importantly, I just want her to learn the culture. How can you try to work in a community, help a community, or even a person if you don't know them and understand them and you're not experiencing the same things they are? So that's kind of our goal the first 2 weeks, just to experience and learn the culture, because that's the majority of it right there. So we're really excited about it. And I live on the beach. It is very beautiful. I know a few people had questions about that. It is very beautiful at the beach where I live. We live in the middle of nowhere. And we work in tourism some, but I do teach English at the beach, and I'll be working in tourism. My boyfriend has a boat, and he builds boats as well, so we'll be working on that some. My goal is to actually become certified mariner eventually. I'm working on that, and I want to do the certification in Portuguese. So, but then we'll be working with this organization and all these projects down there as well. Some of our projects are meant for the community at the beach, but other projects of ours are meant for the jungles or the farms, and then we have projects that are meant for the desert as well. We stretch over 2 states and over quite a few mini villages. We just have, there's certain projects like we have water conservation projects that are in our queue right now, but we don't need that at the beach. We need that in the desert. So our hearts in this general area in Brazil, but it spreads over several different villages and terrains as well. So yes, the photos that I take that are more poverty-stricken places are from the desert. They're going through a tremendously long drought, and I know it's been raining a little there, but it's almost impossible to bounce back from what they've been through. I know in the news we have what's going on in California. Their drought's worse than California, and California is headed in the same direction as North Brazil. So Brazil is it's just a toss-up of poverty and beauty in nature at the same time. It just depends on where you're at. So we get a little bit of everything. Another reason I chose the beach is because I can make money to supplement projects that I want to do in humanitarian work better at the beach. And for visitors that come down, it's a safer area. Where I was at in the desert before, I do not suggest anybody going there. Not just the environment total is just not a good environment, especially for a gringo American. And it's not just the cultural dangers, it's also the nature as well. I got sick there and had to be flown back to the States once when I lived in the desert. I ended up very, very sick, and I had a staph infection that spread through my body, and the medics there didn't know how to take care of it where we were at in the desert. Now we were at the beach within a couple hours. We have great hospitals, but the desert, there was nothing, and I was very ill, and I lost like 40 pounds, I think, and the staph infection spread. I ended up with toxic shock, and then I also got dengue fever at the same time, so I had to come back to the U.S. It got pretty difficult, and just my safety there was compromised over and over. It's an area that has many mercenaries, and because they give to gain control and status, or people do there, someone that messes up that dynamic and gives with no, has projects with no intention of gaining anything from it, kind of throws off the status quo a bit. So, I mean, it became very dangerous in the desert. That's why we won't send Americans out there. But we do have people that work out in those areas. And in some of the favelas. We have a couple social workers that work with us in favelas. But Americans will come to the beach, and it's awesome. It's amazing. It's beautiful. It is a dream. If you want to come and volunteer, you can talk to me about that. But also, if you just want to come vacation, we have we've got like, it's almost like all-inclusive type of vacation deal. So you can always talk to me about that. Anyway, I'm gonna get off here. I'm very tired. I've been finishing my packing all day, and I'm just really excited to get back. I'm very excited to get back to my partner, my other half. When I came back to the States, I never imagined I'd be here for so long, and we never imagined we'd be apart, and we said, you know what, we kind of just kept the friends thing going, but the romance never ran away, like, and now that we've made it through just as friends, and the romance is still there, like, we still care about each other, this has been one of the hardest experiences, being apart for 8 months, but we just kept finding ourselves coming back to each other, like, when we would talk, even if a week or so had passed, it's like, you know what, no, you're still my best friend, and I still adore you. So I'm really excited, and, before we weren't sure if we'd still be dating at the end of the 8 months, or if we'd still be together, because you can grow apart in 8 months. It's very difficult, and he doesn't even have Facebook or the internet or anything where he's at. Like, there's nothing. Like, he just has a cell phone, and I may or may not get him. There may or may not be cell phone signal that day. And some days there's nothing. So, I mean, it's very difficult. It's much like the same type of communication as if you were with someone who is deployed. That communication isn't certain. It isn't given. It's really taught me not to take him for granted, and take just the technology for granted, that I can actually call him across the world, even if I only get him once a week. But it's been great. Our friendship's actually grown. We've gotten a lot closer, and a lot more inseparable. So I'm just really excited to get back to him. I've grown so much with him. I'm so happy. He truly is my best friend. We've been through some difficult. I lost my mom last year when I first met him. I just lost my mom, and he lost his father just in the past few months. So it's just been this. We've passed a lot of obstacles together, and a lot of hardships, and he always says to me, he said, haven't you learned by now, like, what God's given us? Like, he's like, haven't you learned not to worry by now? He's like, you have your best friend Sharon, you can count on me, I'm not going anywhere. So he's such a sweetheart. Anyway, I'll stop talking about him, because I'm blushing. But anyway, I'm really excited, and if anyone has any questions, feel free to shoot them my way. I'm not always so quick about getting back to people, just because I have a lot of messages coming in. And some days I'm just kind of like, screw Facebook or email. I don't have the patience that I used to have for it. But I really enjoy hearing from everybody. It's hard for me to be the one to initiate keeping up with everyone and all my friends, but I do browse through Facebook, and I've kind of enjoyed being home and having Facebook at my fingertips a little more than I do in Brazil. So, but anyway, guys, you can keep tabs on my Facebook, because I'm going to be posting a site that's going to follow our first 2 weeks in Brazil. And we're just going to exclusively post to this website, like all these pictures, otherwise you won't get to see. So keep an eye on that. I'll post that link. And that's about it. Oh, I will teach you a Portuguese word. I'm going to teach you a word that it's one of my favorite words, and actually, don't tell my grandma, I just got it tattooed right there. I can't even show my tattoo. I just got a tattoo there last night. So it's the word saudades. We don't have an American word for this. If you translate it in Google, it says kind of like I miss you. But saudades is like, it's the way I've come to learn it and understand it is a deep longing to be with one, just like this deep, it's this deep sensation, longing, when you miss someone that you really want to be with them, and it's a little deeper than I miss you, because I miss you in Portuguese, it's like sinto sua falta, but saudades is something totally different, and I only use it when I really mean it. I'm sure people throw it around, but so that is your word today, saudades. And I have so many saudades for Brazil. Anyway, thanks guys for following me. Thanks for the support and everything while I've been here, and it's been an experience coming home for the first time since I got out of college. So this definitely, it's been the first time in maybe 8 or more years. So thanks guys for being welcoming. I've almost felt like a stranger being in my own hometown, Tazewell. So it's really been great catching up with everyone, and if you get a chance, go by and see my grandma. She gets lonely, and I know she would love the company. Make sure she knows she's not alone, because I won't always get to call her every day. So, thanks guys, good night, and I'll see you online.